What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be taking you through a few Forex pairs that I'm looking at going into this week and how I personally plan to trade them. So yeah, let's get straight into the video and I'll take you through the pairs. Alright guys, so the first pair that I'm going to go through is Euro Swiss, as I'm seeing a very nice setup on this pair. So first of all, if we just look at Euro Swiss, overall we were in a bearish trend. As you can see, price was printing lower lows and lower highs. And at the moment, we haven't had any significant breaks of that overall downtrend structure. What I noticed was that we had this area here, which was a lower high, but for me, it wasn't a valid sort of, when price broke above it, that wasn't a valid change of character or a break in structure for me, since we did have this area of supply resting immediately above, which price came in, wicked out, and then impulsed over to the downside, breaking some of this minor structure in here. So that was the first indication that I wanted to look for the sells. The second one was that once price came back into this level of supply just here, which we can refine a little bit to this 30-minute region. So this 30-minute level of supply, price created these equal highs just below the zone, and then when price came back into it, we had that initial tap, a sweep of the initial tap, and then followed immediately after by a break of structure. So that was the indication that price wanted to continue down. And when price came into this level, I was monitoring it for a confirmation entry, and when price came into the level, we got a very clean confirmation entry. So what I mean by that is that we had all of these people selling early below the zone. They were swept by this sort of impulsive move up here. We then left behind this level of supply just here, which swept liquidity to the left, and we also had this area of supply being the one that caused the break of structure, in this case a change of character because it's in the opposite direction to the trend. So overall, what we've had is price came back to a higher time frame level of interest. We had an area of interest created when price swept supply, broke structure, and engineered liquidity just below. We then waited for a confirmation when price came back into that level, swept early sellers, broke structure to the downside. So what we wait for now is for price to see if price can retrace back into this level for us to then sell down to this area of liquidity. This will be my first target. If we mark that on, this will be my first target, as I'm seeing this as an area of liquidity, and then the second target will be back down at this low, as I see price potentially heading lower before we see any higher prices. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at for Euro Swiss. So to summarize, we'll look for a retracement into this area of supply for then further sells back down to this area of liquidity at around 0.956. The second pair that I want to take you guys through is GU. As I know a lot of you guys trade GU, and at the moment it is a little bit messy. So I just wanted to take you through my analysis on that. So starting on the daily time frame, we are overall still in a bullish daily trend, and price failed to hold this daily area of supply. We had a clear closure above it, indicating that price may want to continue to the upside after it did this sort of retracement. So if we mark on the key structural points, we have this daily break of structure just here. Price has retraced back down into daily level of demand at the extreme of the current daily leg, meaning the lowest point. And on the 4 hour, we can refine that a little bit more to this area here, which was in balance. We had that liquidity resting above, and price wicked into it very nicely, pushing over to the upside. However, we never had a major break of structure on the 4 hour. You can see that this sort of internal bearish trend where we were printing lower lows and lower highs was still maintained, and price never managed to close above the structure. On the 1 hour time frame, we did get a break of structure. So we had this lower low and this lower high. Price then made a lower low, followed by a break of that structure, creating higher lows and higher highs. But when CPI came out, we sort of saw a manipulation of this range that we were in the whole of last week, where price swept these sellers here. We tapped into that area of supply on the 1 hour, perfectly respecting it. It wasn't wicked out or anything. Price just came in, tapped sort of the bottom of the zone, and then broke out of the bottom of the consolidation that we were in, like I mentioned. So we had this very impulsive move down, taking out this structure here, which is why I think that price is more than likely going to continue lower before we see any of the true buy moves, meaning the real buy move that would be from the buys up to the trend high. So looking at the 4 hour once again, we have had a mitigation of that area of supply. We took out liquidity, and we've also broken out of the bottom of this range. So I will be looking for a retracement into this sort of area to then look for sells down to take out this wick at around 1.26. And if we go to the 30-minute, I have also refined that area to this 30-minute region of supply. We change the color of that. So this candle here, that was the one which caused the break of this structure and caused the impulsive move down. And it is also the last inefficient point within the current range. We also have a little bit of inducement just below it. So if we can mark that on. And we also have these equal lows down here as well as a potential target. So as for GU, just to summarize, we'll be looking at a pullback into this area of supply for then a confirmation start entry, going with the structure on the lower time frames back down to this low at around 1.262. One thing I also want to keep in mind is that, like I mentioned before, we did have that hourly and 30-minute break of structure just here, which you could also look at as a break of structure for further buys. So one thing I want to keep in mind is this area of demand just here, which obviously was induced by these two equal lows. So I want to keep this in mind. And if we do get a confirmation, a perfect confirmation in this case at this level, then I will consider the buys up to this level and also potentially higher. But personally, I think the more likely scenario is that we see sells at this level back down to take out this low, but we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, going through that one more time, we can perceive this in one of two ways. We can see it as a sweep of these sort of trendline highs into supply for then further sells if price were to retrace into this supply. The other way we can view the market is if we see this as a mitigation of that daily area of demand, like I mentioned, a break of structure to the upside, imbalance left over for price then to come and mitigate, take out the liquidity above, and then buy up to that level of supply. So that's two possible scenarios that we can get on GU this week, and I will be monitoring closely to see which one gives us that clean entry and which is the more likely scenario. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have the same analysis or even different analysis, leave that in the comment description below, and also say why you think the analysis that you have is correct. It can also be any other pairs. Just comment some analysis below in the description. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.